Gaming. One of our world's favorite hobbies. These days, a habit divulged in by more and more people, young and old, every day. An activity to relax with, to take a break from reality and indulge a useless fantasy. They tap deep into the human psyche, delivering a hefty helping of dopamine, or becoming more skilled, collecting ample resources, or developing relationships with interesting characters. A valid critique of the hobby would be to say everything you work for within this digital reality is simply not real. The bosses we practice so hard to defeat aren't real threats to ourselves and our community. And while our avatars may have collected enough gold to fund entire economies, in no way does it reflect our wealth in our real lives. Each conversation we have within a game is time we could be spending with real living people, developing relationships that matter. But could it be gaming extends beyond this conception of superficiality? Can games deliver an experience that taps deeper than the gratification of spending V-Bucks and climbing competitive ranks? Are there games out there that become meaningful lessons to achieve a more contented mind? With this video, I'd like to prove that games could be more than just killing monsters, racking up points, and objectifying women. I'd like to show that every once in a while, a studio will deliver a game so extraordinary, it upends the status quo of what a game is supposed to be. Their experience is so unique, you become transformed by the end. Your mind evolves through digesting a true artistic masterpiece. And today, I'll be sharing some of the games I believe achieve this end. And hopefully, by the end of the video, you'll have a new perspective on what a game can do to affect your life in a profoundly meaningful way. And perhaps I will have even convinced you to play a few of these enriching experiences. A warning before we begin. There may be some light spoilers for each title on this list. But I digress. This is the spiritual side of gaming. Our first entry, Journey. I discovered this game as I was just approaching adolescence in 2012. The memory of how I came to play it is foggy, as it was so long ago, but I had just received my PS3 as a gift, and I was looking for games to play. Little did I know when I got the allowance to buy Journey, I was about to embark on one of the most impactful, religious experiences of my young life. From the studio That Game Company, Journey is a game about peaceful contemplation, isolation, mystery, archaeology, and, through it all, self-discovery. From a spark of light, you appear as a hooded figure, alone deep in the desert, and climbing to the highest dune is revealed your destination. The place, whether you know why or not, you must go, where you must return. You go on to discover an ancient world long abandoned, where, though none remain, there are sparks of life still lingering within the cracks of this megalithic wonder. Slowly, through your meditations, visions are delivered to you about the past of an abundant world gone to dust. And so, on your way, through your power of flight and sound, you discover your role in this world as well. Though there are sequences of challenge and threat within Journey, it's a very accessible game. A peaceful experience that won't have you stressed, but rather soothes. A transcendent soundtrack delivered by the amazing Austin Wintory further envelops you within a tragic yet divine story. This game revolves not around combat, violence, or ambiguous point values, but rather simple puzzle solving. I won't go on to reveal the ending, but I will say that a very digestible hour-and-a-half to 2-hour experience Journey, with so little time, influences my spiritual life even to this day. Journey reminisces on the nature of the individual and its relation to that of the whole. Can one walk willingly through life with acceptance, knowing the golden age has long passed? Can one see the value in being no more than a brief grain of sand, flying in the wind from one place to another? Journey is truly a masterpiece, and I encourage everyone to play. If you haven't yet, you won't regret it. Number 2, Abzu. From the dry, dune-covered land of Journey, we now travel to the rich ocean world of Abzu. These games are remarkably similar, especially in their simplicity and pacing. Playing another nameless being of mysterious origin, you once again discover, at your own pace, a long-abandoned society, seemingly at the zenith of prosperity. And yet the question arises once again, how could this golden age come to its end? These similarities are no coincidence either, as Matt Nava, the previous art director for Journey, goes on to co-found the studio Giant Squid. And how appropriate a first launch being a game with literal giant squids. If you've ever wondered what it'd be like to swim in the open ocean with these marvelous creatures, this game fulfills that fantasy perfectly. Yes, the ocean is a subject of fear for many, and rightfully so. Who knows what hungry gargantuan leviathans await in the deep? And Abzu certainly reflects this phobia. But if you have the courage to go deep, you uncover a world of life and complexity. An ecosystem where the big fish eat the little fish, but in the end, all return from whence we came. Around every corner is a new discovery. Archaeological marvels lay at your fingertips, and it's through your discovery and inquiry that makes learning about this wet world so satisfying. Another recognizable similarity from Journey is the graceful music, performed by the same composer, Austin Wintory, which does an amazing job at encapsulating the spirit of the ocean, whether it be through the frantic hurriedness of a yellowfin tuna or the graceful serenity of a blue whale. One of my favorite parts of Abzu is whenever you discover a new area, there's usually a shark statue in which you can sit and meditate. Doing so allows your camera to revolve around the different species in the tank, so to speak. It switches periodically, allowing for a diverse viewing of the masterfully crafted species models that the game includes. I like to just leave this on for a social gathering sometimes. It makes for very intriguing ambiance. Abzu is truly marvelous, and has brought depth, so to speak, to the gaming genre I didn't know possible. The third entry in our list, the Pathless. The next game, released by Giant Squid, the Pathless, quite honestly leaves me speechless, but I'll give it a good shot. I remember seeing the trailer for this game and knew instantly I would be pouring countless hours into this vibrant world. Here lies the promise of a transformative adventure. As soon as you arrive on the shores of an undiscovered nation, corrupted by mysterious darkness, there's a yearning to restore the purity and balance of the natural world. The island is a place of extreme devotion, each area of the game elevated from one level to the next, specializes in the worship of 4 animal spirits, responsible for bringing the life-giving elements of the natural world into being. And you can learn just as much by listening to the final whispers of the many scattered corpses throughout. Perhaps it is through your listening that these souls can find their peace and move on, knowing there is one who may use their wisdom to absolve the many errors of the past. A great war has been fought here. Many have died, and you stand alone to rebalance the natural order, or let it submerge in a brutal darkness. Well, You're not completely alone, after all. Once you cross paths with a seemingly unconventional ally, a golden eagle. Perhaps the greatest appeal for animal lovers, this eagle remains with you throughout the game, and together, your powers may be enough to defeat a legendary evil. You can even pet and whistle with your feathery friend, and by the end, you form a bond that raises you, both physically and emotionally. Towering mountains, sprawling forests, fertile valleys, the geography is immense. And playing as the Pathless Archer replicates the feeling of being lost in the forest as a child, filled with curiosity over what's just up that hill or around the corner. And thanks to the swiftness of your sprint and the flight of your eagle, you can soar to discover every bit of the world your eyes can see. There is a trance-inducing meditation that comes from timing each arrow, garnering immense speed and height, proving to be an addictive, yet calming and simple gameplay loop that I've never seen before or since. The Pathless is a game that rewards your exploration with collectibles and gold, yes, but I never felt that was my primary motivation to explore. It was rather just the sense of curiosity, to see what spectacular temples, sculptures, and landmarks these artists would display. The mythology the developers were able to create and tell through the environment is inspirational, to say the least, and invigorates one to find the natural world out their very door, maybe even begin to tell your own story of animals, gods, and heroes. The previous games on this list grant you marvelous abilities, but it is through the Pathless you are able to truly soar. So, what do you think? Have you played these gems before? Do you want to now? I hope I did a good job convincing you, at least, that some games can uplift your spirit with beauty rather than degrade you. And if there's anything I know, it's that we need beauty more than ever now. We live in a new world, a world difficult to navigate, full of expectation, hopes, dreams, responsibility, and on top of it, radical change. We have become a digital people, where the conveniences of technology can disconnect us from the fundamental aspects of life and what makes us human. A whole day spent inside fighting dragons, a deep conversation with a loved one or friend we choose not to be with face to face, an occasional text to someone you long to know better but remains so far away. And it's easy to forget the beauty of life, hooked on devices designed to keep you intrigued and addicted. Video games are like that. They insert meaning into your life when it can be hard to find. At least, that's what games have the potential to be. Did you just lose your 10th ranked match in a row, and your cortisol has finally made you punch a wall? Or maybe you're under a cuddly blanket with a loved one, harvesting your crops in Stardew Valley. Games are a part of our reality, just like the smartphone, just like the internet. And just like them, they can cause problems. But they can also be used as tools. Tools to shape your perception of reality. And if a game helps you be a more independent, brave, kind, and loving human being, well, cheers, my friend. A game is a simulation, and a simulation is a choice. A choice that makes you feel good about yourself. Or maybe not. Ultimately, it's up to you. Thank you for watching.